Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and good day to each and everyone. Okay, so last meeting we have already discussed the week 1 and week 2, which is the basic fundamental concept when it comes to dealing with electricity or electric circuit theory. Okay, so we have already discussed the um, fundamentals of definitions and applications or the the basic idea on how to deal with the electricity or electric circuits. Okay. Now, so continuing our discussion for this week 3 up to week 4, we have to deal with the method of analysis. Okay. So, bakit? Kasi when it comes to a circuit or electrical circuits, hindi sapat that we have just the basic idea about the electricity, no? Lalo na't gagamitin natin to when it comes to having our um, higher major subjects, okay? So we know that in dealing with higher major subject, we have a uh, we have a uh, applications where where in that case we can apply the uh, basic method of analysis, no, na malalearn natin dito. Okay, so that's why this is very important as for us as a student of EE. Okay, so now, so proceed tayo. So we have here the method of analysis. Okay, so in here we can learn about Y delta transformation, nodal analysis, supernode, mesh analysis, and super mesh. Okay, so we can learn about the difference between that different method of analysis and how they apply. Okay, when it comes to a certain situation. Okay, now so in this case, no, kung ito yung magiging kuan natin, circuits natin, titingnan natin, medyo naging complicated siya, no? Kasi meron tayong connection here at the same time, we have also connection here, no? So kumbaga it will do some complication in which kung isolve natin siya, siguro mahirap, okay? So now, so but we have a different method, no? So yun nga, ang aim natin dito is to apply that method of analysis to simplify the calculation, okay? So yun yung tinatawag in the first place. In here, we have to discuss about the delta to y calculation, transformation, or from y to delta transformations. Kung makikita natin dito, this y connection or t connection is being transformed into delta or pi connection or vice versa. Okay? So we have here definite method on how to convert that one. So we have here a formula, no? So from delta to y, we have here the formula. Okay? So ibig sabihin from this delta papunta to y, we can use this formula here. Okay? So just familiar this one, okay? Just familiar yourself this one with these equations. Okay? So we have here from y to delta naman, okay? From y here to delta, we can use this equation, okay? Take note that this RB, RC, and RE, RE, RB, and RC is the 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 resistance of delta connected system, okay? And this R1, R2, and R3 is the resistance of this Y connected system, okay? So yun. So we can use this equation actually, okay? Now, what if our circuit is balanced? It means that the the three resistances of Y connected or delta connected systems are all equal, okay? So ibig sabihin balance siya. So instead na ito yung gagamitin natin, itong equation na to, okay? We can just use this equation. Okay? We have Ry or R delta Ry connected na system can be converted into delta connected na system by just multiplying it by 3 and vice versa by just dividing it by 3. Okay? So yun yung ibig sabihin nito. So by the way, if you want to verify this equation, you just substitute here the value of RA and RB and RC, assuming that RA and RB and RC are all equal. So just substitute the value, then makakakuha ka ng ganitong equation actually. Same for this equation here, no? If you assume that R1, R2, and R3 are all equal, it means balance. If you have to substitute that here sa equation na to, makakakuha ka ng ganitong equation. Okay? So, yun. So, we have here an example. Okay? So, just read about that one. Okay? So, basic lang naman yun siya. And at the same time here, example din to siya. So, we have transformed the Y network into delta connected. So, assuming, since this is not balanced, unlike here that same, no, this is not also balanced, no, so just you can use this equation actually pag hindi siya balanced or hindi siya equal. Same for this one actually, no, hindi siya balanced and this is t connected or y connected, you can use this equation here from y to delta connection. Okay, so yan. Okay, so okay, so we have here um okay, so another example here, no? So yeah, another example here, but in here, it uses the uh, Y delta transformation to simplify the complicated connection here. Okay, so as you can see here, this pi connected here is converted into delta using that equation just I have said kanina. Then after naging ganito yung equation natin as you can see here from t to delta, and then at the same time since this is parallel itong dalawang to, so i-combine niya, then after that this is after that ma-combine ito, then gi-add nila to siya, since kinumbine naman, then saka ginawa to. Okay, so it means that in here in this case you can just convert back, you can just use the y delta conversion to simplify the connection. Okay, so as you can see here from this connection here, naging simplified na yung ating connection. So in this case parallel naman to siya, pwede mo na yun siyang i-combine. So yun, ito yung pinaka total na result. And from our previous discussion, we have already discussed how to combine the parallel connection. Take note of that, no? So just use that method. Okay. So just like for this one, no? So dito, I think you can just use, you can just convert this back into delta connection. Then after that, parallel. Then makukuha mo na yung result. Okay. Okay. So, continuing our discussion. So we have here this yun nga sinabi ko sa inyo, you can just siguro convert this into delta connected, and after that combine that connection, and after that use the parallel connection, then makukuha mo na yung ating total impedance or total resistance, and at the same time makukuha mo yung ating current, no, by just dividing that total resistance, okay, or by just dividing that total voltage into total resistance, and makukuha mo na yung current natin in that circuit. Okay, so yun, madali lang naman actually, no? Okay. So, dito tayo sa nodal analysis. So, yung nodal analysis natin is meron tayong step by steps here, and just read that one. So, I will just discuss the examples that is being stated here na lang, no? So, yan. Dito tayo. So, dito sa example na to. Okay. So, we have here calculate the node voltage in the circuit shown. So, take note that hindi ko na binasa yung ating um, steps here, no? So, I just proceed um, on this example, then I will just discuss to you on how to simplify that one. Okay, so we have here calculate the node voltage in the circuit shown. So what do you mean by node pala? Ang ibig sabihin ng node is the connection of or the point where there will be a connected three or more branches of circuit. Okay, so for example ito siya. Okay, this is node 1 because we have connected branch with 4 ohm na resistance, and branch with 2 ohm na resistance, at the same time branch with 5 ampere na source, na current source. No? So, ibig sabihin, 3 yung naka-connected sa kanina branches, ibig sabihin, matatawag natin to siya as node. Same for this one actually, no? Kasi apat yung naka-connected sa kanina branches. We have the 4 ohm, the 6 ohm, and the 10 ohm, 10 ampere, and the 5 ampere. So, this is node 2. Now, so, what we need here is to find the voltage across this node here, okay, with respect to the um, neutral. Okay, so kung titingnan natin yun siya, so we have yung dito sa node natin dito, at node 1 dito sa node natin dito, kung mag-a-apply tayo diyan ng KCL, okay, or Ohm's law, we have here I1, yung I1 natin is pababa, okay? Then, I mean yung I1 dito is pababa, then yung I2 naman natin is pababa rito, ito yung I2 natin, and then, hindi, ito yung I2 natin, then yung I3 natin is pababa rito. So, ibig sabihin, papasok yung I1, then, pag ganito yung I2, then pag ganito naman yung I3, so ibig sabihin, ito yung equation natin. Okay, then substitute the value of I1 and I2 and I3, yung I1 natin is 5 ampere, alam naman natin yun siya, ito yung source natin, 5 ampere, and that is the same with I1 here, and then yung I2 natin is, this one, ito. So, ibig sabihin yung I2 natin is V1 minus V2 over 4, no? Kasi nga, comes from the equation of Ohm's law. So, we have V1 minus V2 over the resistance. So, yun yung I2 natin. So, yun siya, I2. Then, yung I3 naman natin is pababa. So, yung I3 natin is V1 lang kasi nga yung voltage dito sa baba is 0. So, V1 minus 0 divided by 2. So, yun yung ating I3. Take note of that. Tama ba? Okay, so therefore, ito na yung equation natin na number 1. Now, how about the equation number 2? Yung equation number 2 natin is dito siya makukuha sa node 2. Okay? So, yung node 2 naman natin, magpe-perform na naman tayo dyan ng KCL or Kirchhoff's current law. So, we have here I2. I2 natin is yung paganito siya. I2, then I4 is paganito. Then I1 is pataas. Then I5 is pababa. Okay, so performing the KCL, yung as I have told to you, no, yung pag ganito is yung papasok sa node is dito sa kabilang side ng equal sign, then yung palabas sa node is yun yung sa left side ng ating equal sign dito sa equation natin. Okay? Then performing that KCL, then substitute the appropriate expression for Ohm's law, then makukuha na natin yung second equation natin. Now, in this case, no, yung dalawang equation natin is a function of V1 and V2 as you have noted here, no, V1 and V2. Tapos it's either pwede kayong mag-perform diyan ng substitution or elimination, or you can just input it in your calculator. Okay, meron naman tayong equation diyan, so pwede nyo na makalculate yung ating value. Okay, so just like here, what is being tested uh, uh, stated here. Or you can just perform a Cramer's rule. Okay? Yung Cramer's rule natin is gumagamit tayo ng uh, ating determinant. Okay? So, yun. So, and then, yun nga, no? Makukuha mo na yun siya here. Okay? So, in this case, nakuha na natin yung value ng I1 and I2 and I3 natin. Okay? So, yun. Kasi nga, nakuha natin yung value ng node voltage natin, yung V1 at saka V2. Okay? Now, sir, bakit po, sir, V1 yung nilagay natin dito. Okay? Kasi nga, node kasi yan eh. No? So, yung node na yan, may nag-exist na voltage dyan, which is the V1 and V2. Which in this case, in this problem, yan yung ating required sa problem. Take note of that. Okay? So, kaya, in here, ang hinahanap natin is yung V1 and V2. Okay? Another question, sir. Paano natin, sir, ma-identify? Kasi nga, di ba, yung direction ng current dito, sir, is just an assumption, no? Or hindi natin alam. So, paano yun siya, sir? Bakit, sir, naglagay ka ng direction ng current na papunta rito, and papunta rito? Actually, okay, in calculating like this problem, you can just assume, no, kung ano yung direction ng current mo. Pwedeng mag-assume ka pa pataas, pwedeng mag-assume ka pa ganito, pwedeng mag-assume ka pa opposite dito sa current dito, kahit saan ka appropriate na gusto mo. Okay? So, ganun pa rin yung magiging resulta actually, no? Ang mangyayari lang actually sa final answer is that magiging negative yung mga values ng current mo, no? So, take note that pag maging negative yung values ng currents natin, it means that the assumed direction of your current is not correct. Okay? So, you can just reverse that direction and then makukuha mo na yung ating uh, current and yung direction niya. Okay? No? So, yung assumption natin actually. No? So, once again, you can just assume what's the direction of the different current here, then perform the calculation of KCL and yung ating nodal analysis. Then, kung I'm sure that yung makukuha natin na value ng currents dito is mga negative, then if that negative result will exist, then it means that your assumed direction is not correct. Okay, so you can just reverse it. Yun lang yun lang actually yung gagawin ninyo. Okay? So, same for this one actually. So, madali lang naman to. Same din sa taas. Ang gagawin nyo lang dito actually is, ang nag-iba lang is itong uh, independent source, no? What do you mean by that independent source? Okay, yung independent source na yan, okay, ibig sabihin nun, naka-independent siya, okay? This not independent, dependent, I mean, no? Ibig sabihin nun, naka-dependent siya sa IX, no? Kung makikita niyo yung ganitong sign, ibig sabihin niyan naka-dependent siya sa kung ano yung naka-indicated dito. So in this case, IX, ibig sabihin naka-dependent siya dito kay IX. So kung ano yung value ng IX dito, okay, ng current dito, yun din yung source dito. Okay? So take note of that. So nag-i-exist yan siya sa calculation. But all in all, parehas lang naman yun siya dito sa ating calculation dito. So once again, all you have to do is to just assume the voltage node, okay, or the node voltage here sa 1, 2, and 3. Okay, then after that, calculate that value, then makukuha mo na yung ating voltages and currents. Okay, so yun. So that's conclude our discussion for nodal analysis. Okay, so once again, if you have any question regarding this one, you may just have to ask it to me so that we can directly answer it, or we can directly answer your question. Okay? So dito tayo sa supernode. What do you mean by supernode? No? So kung babasahin natin to siya, uh, supernode means that kung meron tayong dalawang kung meron tayong dalawang node which in between them is the voltage source, so you can just assume that one as a supernode para iisa lang yung calculation natin. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng supernode. No, hindi ko na to babasahin. No? So, yun lang yung ibig sabihin niya. Once again, kung meron tayong dalawang node, okay, then in between them is a voltage source. So you can just assume that um, node, yung dalawang node na yan, including the voltage source as a supernode, then perform the calculation and that's all. Tapos na yun siya, no? So, ibig sabihin, yun lang yung calculation mo. So, in this case, kung titingnan natin, yung V2 and V3 natin is meron tayong supernode, then in between this is 5 volts. So, performing nodal analysis here, so meron tayong I1, yung I1 is papasok dito sa supernode natin, then yung I4 natin is papasok na naman dito. So once again, no, same sa taas na binanggit ko, you can just assume what's the direction of I1, I4, and I3, and I2 dito. Ang importante is naka-assign ka ng mga current sa every branches. Take note of that. Okay? So yung once again, yung I1 natin is papasok sa supernode. So kaya dito sa left side, yung I4 natin is papasok sa supernode. Kaya dito sa left side, yung I3 natin is palabas sa supernode. Kaya dito sa right side, yung I2 natin is palabas sa supernode kaya dito sa right side. And after that, substitute the appropriate Ohm's law equivalent. So we have here in this I3, yung I1 natin is V1 minus V2. So divided by 2 ohm. Then yung I4 natin is V1 minus V3, no? V1 minus V3 over 4, yung 4 ohm natin dito. Then yung V2 naman yung I2 naman natin, in which this one here is V2 minus 0 kasi nga reference, no? So 0 yung voltage diyan. So V2 minus 0 over 8, yung 8 ohm natin. Then yung V3 naman natin is V3 minus 0, so that will be 6 divided by 6 kasi nga yung 6 ohm natin dito. Okay? Then after that, simplify this equation here. And after that, you can now, after mo ma-simplify yung equation dito, okay, then, di ba, dalawang unknown variables, no? Yung isang equation mo is makukuha mo rito. Okay, sa loob ng supernode mo. So, we can just perform here as V2 minus V3 is equals to 5 volts. Then, yun, dalawa na yung equation mo. Then, you can just perform a substitution or uh, substitution or elimination. So elimination, so or you can just input it in your calculator, so makukuha mo na yung ating value ng V1 and V2 natin, or I mean V2 and V3 natin. Okay, so yun. Okay, so we have another example here. So nodal analysis, node voltage din yun siya. Then meron tayong supernode kasi nga ito yun siya. super node dyan is yung V1 and V2 natin. In between is the source voltage na 2 volts. Then, makukuha na natin yung value. Okay? So, ganun pa rin yung situation. Okay? So, ang ibig sabihin actually ng super node is isang equation. Ibig sabihin, i-include mo yung dalawang node voltage, no, yung V1 and V2 natin as iisang equation lang. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng super node. Okay? So, ibig sabihin na timun kaagid wati man node voltage sa timan na equation. Okay? Gets? So, okay. So, so, so I think madali lang naman tong iba. No, you can just study that one. So if you have any question regarding that one, please ask it to me directly. So dito tayo sa mesh analysis. Malapit na tayo. Yung sa mesh analysis naman, is instead na um, uh, mag-identify tayo ng mga nodes. Dito is mag-identify tayo ng mesh. Okay? What do you mean by mesh? Yung mesh is isa siyang loop where we can perform a voltage drop calculation. Okay? Voltage drop calculation. Then after that, using that voltage drop calculation to find the equations or dependent equations. Okay? So yun lang yun. So I will not read this one, no? So we can just proceed in this example. Okay? Same lang naman siya same lang naman siya sa definition. So, discuss na lang natin itong example na to. So, for example is meron tayong circuit like this one, no? So, yung circuit na to is meron tayong dalawang mesh, no? So, itong mesh na to at saka itong mesh na to. Okay? So, we have here a mesh I1 and mesh I2 or loop I1 or loop I2. Okay? Now, so performing voltage drop here, calculations, we have negative 15 volts kasi nga nung nag-perform ka dito ng mesh analysis, ang nauna mong na-encounter na sign ni source voltage na 15 volts is negative. Kaya negative 15 volts. Take note of that, no? Importante talaga yun siya. May mga nagkakamali dyan. Okay? Then, plus the voltage drop here, yung voltage drop natin dito is the multiplication of current and resistance. So, we have I1 multiplied by 5 or 5I1. So, yun siya. Then, the voltage drop here sa 10 ohm natin is 10 multiplied by I1 minus I2. Okay? Kasi nga, yung dumadaloy rito na current is the combination of I1 and I2. Okay? Take note of that. Okay? So, that's why in here, naging I1 and I2 yung equation natin. Take note of that. And then, the voltage drop here is since ang nauna nating na-encounter is yung positive ng sign ng ating source voltage na 10 volts. So, that's why in here, positive 10 volts yung answers natin. Okay, then simplifying this equation here, we have a result here of 3I1 minus 2I2 is equals to 1. Okay, now another equation is due to this mesh 2. Okay, yung mesh 2 na yan is 10 volts. So, negative siya. Bakit? Kasi, negative siya kasi bakit? Ang unang na-encounter natin is yung negative sign ng ating 10 volts. Then, yung voltage drop dito, yung voltage drop naman dito is I2 minus I1. So, yun, I2 minus I1 multiplied by 10 ohm. Then, yung voltage drop naman dito is I2 times 4. I2 times 6 ohm. Okay, then yung voltage drop naman dito is I2 multiplied by 4. So, that's why in here, yung equation natin is ganito yun siya. Okay? Then simplifying that equation, so makakuha tayo ng ganitong equations. Once again, you can just perform substitution here or itong dalawang equation na to or elimination or you can just input it on your calculator and then makukuha mo na yung value ng I1 and I2 natin. Okay? Which is the required quantity here. Okay? And then the same time yung I3 natin. So once again, okay? Once again, if the resulting I1 and I2 are negative, it means that your direction, your assumed direction is just wrong. So ang gagawin mo lang naman doon, hindi nagkamali yung nakuha mong value actually. Ang nagkamali lang is yung direction mo. So ang gagawin mo lang doon is to reverse that direction, then yun na. Yun na yung answer mo. Okay? Same for this one. Okay? So practice problem na yun siya. Okay? So same for this one. So you can just study that one and then ask it to me what the concept na hindi niyo naintindihan. Okay? So dito naman tayo sa super mesh. Okay? Sa super mesh tayo. Okay. So what do you mean dito naman sa super mesh, kung meron tayong dalawang current source, I mean, kung meron tayong dalawang mesh na current or loop current, okay, and in between them is a current source, okay, we can just assume that one as a uh, super mesh. Okay? Ah, super mesh. No, yung kanina, yung super node natin is meron tayong dalawang node tapos in between them is a voltage source. Dito is meron tayong dalawang mesh loop or loop current, then in between them is the current source. We can just assume that one as a super mesh. Okay? Now, so yun, meron naman tayong procedure dito, so hindi ko nababasahin. So proceed na lang tayo dito sa example. Okay? Now, so, in this circuit, no, meron tayong loop here, loop, loop, and loop. Okay. Now, in between loop 1 and loop 2, meron tayong current source na 5 ampere. Okay. And in between loop 2 and 3, meron tayong current source na 3I sub O. Once again, these three, this kind of symbols is used and used in um dependent sources. Okay? So, ibig sabihin nito, itong ganitong sign is nakadependent siya sa I sub O. Okay? Dito. So, kung ano yung value ng I sub O natin dito, yun din yung value ng ating current source here. Okay? So, madali lang naman yun siya. Okay? So, ibig sabihin nun, all of these uh, super mesh here is one equation lang na yan siya. Okay? One equation lang. Okay? So, ito yung calculation natin. Okay? So, just read that one. Okay? So, madali lang naman yun siya. I'm sure. Okay? So, ito, meron tayong practice problem. So, dito, ang gagawin nyo lang dito is, ang magiging super mesh dito is ito siya at saka ito siya kasi in between them is meron silang 3 ampere. So, gagawin nyo siyang super mesh yun siya. Okay? Then, same calculation with this one, actually, with this one. Then, makukuha nyo na yung ating value ng I1 and I2 and I3 natin. Okay? So, once again, if you have any question regarding this one, you may just ask it to me as soon as possible para ma-answer natin yung question ninyo. Okay? So, that's all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.